Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I am talking about with all of my buyer clients right now at all price points, and that is walkability. This seems to be something I would say in the last kind of 2 years has been something that seems to be at the top of every single one of my buyers' checklists. Maybe not every single one, but like 9 out of 10 of my buyer clients want incredible walkability. And I think that walkability's obviously always been a thing. I remember when I first started in real estate like 6.5 years ago, people would talk about wanting to have some walkability, but I just don't remember it being at this level or of this importance. I feel like even buyers that kind of don't have the budget to get into some of these super walkable neighborhoods are willing to make sacrifices in so many other areas of their purchase in order to have walkability. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of my most favorite walkable neighborhoods in Victoria, why I love these areas, and then we're going to do a little field trip to Sabayon's, which is a new store that has opened in downtown Victoria in the Old Bay Centre. Very, very cool. Super excited to show you guys what is up with that. And also, I want to tell you a little bit about a $28 million listing that I viewed here in Victoria the other day. This is the most expensive home that has ever been listed in the Uplands neighborhood, and we're gonna dive into that a little bit. If you are new here, hello, I'm Ainsley, and I am a local Victoria real estate agent. And if you are looking to buy or sell here in Victoria, I would love to hear from you. I would love to help you. A huge part of my business is working with relocation buyers, helping them navigate the process moving to Victoria, whether it is returning Canadians from the US, whether it is US citizens that are getting work visas who are wanting to come across, whether it's people who need contacts because they want to immigrate to Canada, or just people coming from other provinces to Victoria. I cover all of it. I have resources for all of you. So I would love to work with you. I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out via the email address you'll find listed below. I also wanted to tell you guys about this $28 million listing I went to see last week in Uplands. It was insanely beautiful. Such an incredible piece of property and incredible piece of architecture. And I'll read you a few details about this home. This home was built in 1913, set on 3 acres. It has 12 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, 14,629 finished square feet. It was truly an incredible piece of landmark waterfront. This home, Riffington, has been featured in Western Living. It's hosted the British royal family on multiple occasions and served as the US consul's residence. The estate also includes a carriage house, seaside cottage, waterfront pavilion, private dock with large boat moorage, vegetable garden, etc., etc. Pretty impressive, and a huge price tag of just shy of $28 million. So this $28 million home is in this Uplands neighborhood, which is a really, really beautiful, very prestigious neighborhood. Tons of estates, like wider streets, lots of grassy areas, there's parks. They've got these special lampposts in that specific neighborhood. All of the electrical wires, like the telephone wires and electrical wires, are actually buried underground, so you're not looking at any of that like you would be in other parts of Oak Bay. So it's really, really lovely that way. And I've helped a number of clients in the last few years that certainly have budgets where they could be purchasing houses in this neighborhood if they wanted to, considering it has this prestigiousness and would be considered probably one of Victoria's most beautiful neighborhoods. But that being said, all of these clients that I have worked with that have budgets where they could have purchased in Uplands are not wanting to move into that particular neighborhood because of the walkability factor. Depending on where you are in Uplands, you still may have some walkability, but not in the same way that some of these other neighborhoods do. So I think especially if it's a family with young kids, I am seeing kind of a trend more towards that South Oak Bay, North Oak Bay, Estevan, Fairfield, kind of these pockets. For today's video, I'm gonna give you guys a little overview on a handful of these really walkable neighborhoods. So to start out with, we've got just over the bridge from downtown Victoria. That's a little bridge there. can see downtown, you go over the Johnson Street Bridge here, and then you end up in this part of town, which is called Victoria West. I absolutely love Victoria West. I think it's a really great place to live, but I think it's pretty specific in the kind of buyer that's gonna be able to live here or find what they're looking for here, because Victoria West is broken into two parts. This side is called Songhees on the south side, and then the north side is Vic West. On the south side here in this Songhees area, you've got a lot of condo buildings, a lot of waterfront condo buildings. There's some townhouses in here. A number of these condo buildings are a little bit older. Some of them have some upcoming work and some potential special levies. And there's a lot of activity on this side of the water because you are facing kind of south down into the inner harbor here. You're also facing the harbor, which offers some really incredible views. You're looking into downtown. You've got like water taxis that you can look at for harbor activity. There's kayaks, there's float planes coming in and out constantly. So for people that like looking at an active harbor, this pocket can be really exciting. And there's a beautiful walkway that kind of walks all the way along the waterfront here. So that's nice for walkability to get into downtown. You've also got those water taxis I just mentioned, which can take you across the harbor or up north into the harbor up this way as well. So it's easy to get around. It's one of the things that you kind of want to be aware of is that, yeah, there's a lot of activity. So you may hear ferries. You've got the Blackball ferry line coming in from Seattle there or from Port Angeles. So they make some noise, and there's also jet fuel from the seaplanes coming in and out. So if you're sensitive to smells, that can definitely be something to consider if you're going to be in one of these condo buildings over here. I would say slightly older demographic in this part of Vic West, in the Songhees area. It leans a little bit more retiree demographic. Not all, but kind of leans that way a little bit. And then kind of the opposite over in this Victoria West pocket, which is kind of more dockside green and the rail yards. You've got lots of condos on this side that also have nice water views. It is a little bit more young professional vibe on this side because you've got the Galloping Goose, which is really easy to access. So for cycling enthusiasts and walking enthusiasts, this is a really great location. There's a plaza up here with like a Save On Foods and kind of everything you need. So you've got kind of that great walkability in your backyard to amenities. Then if we come down into downtown, downtown obviously has incredible walkability, but that's going to be for a very specific buyer that's looking for a condo. And I would say I do have a handful of buyers that would consider moving downtown right now, but I would say for the most part, downtown's been a bit of a slower market, especially in the last year. We've seen prices come down about 10% on condos downtown, which is pretty significant. That market is fairly slow at the moment. If we come over here into James Bay, you also have incredible walkability. It's super easy to walk into downtown. James Bay has its own kind of little village with a Thrifty Foods and little coffee shops. So you've got a lot kind of in James Bay. James Bay is just very mixed residential is what I tell my clients. So you'll have like a really tall condo tower, possibly next to a house, possibly next to a low-rise apartment building, possibly next to like a multi-unit family sort of setup. So it can be very mixed, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely changes how the neighborhood feels a little bit. So James Bay, great for walkability, just a slightly different neighborhood dynamic there. You also get a little bit of extra activity because you've got the cruise ships that dock down on this end. You've got HeliJet here, which is coming in and out. So this pocket around here, you'd have helicopter noise kind of to be taking into consideration. If you've got a newer home and double pane windows and stuff, you know, maybe not as much of a consideration, but definitely something to be aware of if you're wanting a really quiet location. And then also the float planes are coming in and out of here as well. So you're going to have more of that kind of air traffic noise. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's that bad, but you know, it's a bit subjective on that front. And then as you move from James Bay, you're into Fairfield now. This to me is amazing, amazing, amazing walkability. So you've got Cook Street Village right here. You've got Beacon Hill Park. You can walk downtown. You could walk to the waterfront. It's really incredible that way. So this kind of west, this is West Fairfield here. This little pocket to me is like absolutely prime. And then you're moving kind of into Rockland, which is up kind of in here. Also really great walkability, just slightly different to that West Fairfield. You kind of, here you're nice and central. So you could actually walk up to Fernwood, you could walk to Oak Bay, and you could walk to Fairfield. So I really like Rockland for that reason. I'm actually in Rockland myself, and I can walk downtown to yoga classes, and I also walk to Oak Bay for dinner. So it's really centrally located and super convenient for that reason. Once we kind of pass here, we've got like a mixture of East Fairfield as we start to come into South Oak Bay. So East Fairfield, also a great little pocket. You've got walkability to Oak Bay Avenue from here, which is wonderful. South Oak Bay, this would also be an area that I would consider being very prime location. So if you're wanting great walkability, kind of decided that like McNeil here. So this is where everything good is happening, is on Oak Bay Avenue up here. And once you're kind of past McNeil, then you're kind of more than a 12-minute walk to the village. So some people kind of want to be in that 10 to 12-minute radius of the village. So McNeil is kind of that cutoff. If you're trying to stay in this little pocket, that's a pretty tight little pocket to just be looking in, because houses in this neighborhood specifically don't turn over as much as they would in other neighborhoods. This is a really established part of town, and typically once people actually make it into this neighborhood, they're not looking to make a change anytime soon. South Oak Bay is also really, really lovely. Really nice walkable areas, but not quite as walkable to the village. However, you do still have, like at Windsor Park here, there's a little ice cream spot. There's a new little restaurant on Central Avenue, Live Cafe and Bistro, which is down here. You've got Delish, you've got Demitas. So there's a few things in this South Oak Bay area if you just kind of want to know that you've got a handful of coffee shops and stuff to walk to. This is a beautiful part of town as well. Fernwood also has great walkability. You've got the village here. So we've got the Fernwood Inn, and I kind of feel like the quieter side of Fernwood is kind of being like east of this Fernwood Road. So this little pocket of Fernwood is really lovely. You've got this beautiful high school right here. And then once you're kind of on that west end of Fernwood, you're kind of getting closer to the rough part of Victoria, which is very unfortunate right now, but you've got this section of Pandora Avenue, which is where we have a lot of the unhoused people. And I believe that is the most politically correct way to say that at the moment. There is a drug testing center about here, somewhere here on Cook. And I feel like that has brought some of these issues a little bit further into this portion of Fernwood. And so for that reason, as much as I absolutely love Fernwood, I do feel like if you're somebody, not for everybody, but if you are somebody that that would be a concern to, then I would say this pocket of Fernwood would be kind of a nicer location to think about. Then on the other side of Oak Bay Avenue, you've got North Oak Bay. So this area can be really walkable as well. You go into kind of Estevan Village up this way, which is also super walkable. We've got Barton Banker across the street from the entrance to Sabayons, which used to be the old Bay Center. So we're gonna go through this little for the full effect. Candles over here. Okay, so this is the new room. And is this the like sister store to the market on Catherine Street? Same owners and stuff. Okay, yeah, same vibe for sure. Yeah. Awesome, very cool, thanks. So this is the new room. This is like perfume and tea and umbrellas and some very interesting lights over here. So this is the entrance from the mall side of things. not really a shaped soap kind of person. Come into this other little room which has a bunch of chocolates. More chocolates. These are macadamia nuts. And then in here they have glasses and cookbooks. And then a bajillion different types of pasta. And this is, seems like some, and then you come around the corner to the kids area. This is pretty cool. So this is all candies in this train. And these are some really nice toys if you need a gift for a kid. They've got some nice toys in here. So honestly, I don't really know what I would personally buy at Sabayon's. Maybe some client gifts, maybe some gifts if I needed like baby presents or something. They did have some nice toys in there, some nice chocolates, some nice pasta. So if you needed to make a client gift basket or something like that, I could see that it could work well for something like that. But I think the main thing is really it's gonna be a beautiful tourist store. So when people come in on the cruise ships, they've got like a beautiful store like that to go do some shopping. I think it really adds to downtown. It's nice to see something a little bit different and unique, and they've done such creative displays and stuff in there. So I thought it was worth checking out. But I also wanted to show you guys the new Lululemon that has gone in down in the Inner Harbor as well. This is fairly new. So the harbor's just there. We've got Lululemon here. And up front. So this is the new Lululemon. And you've got Customs House right here, which is a beautiful condo building, very expensive units in there. They're lovely. And below that, we've got like a fairly new Starbucks as well in this corner. And then this is where all the kind of the float plane activity will be taking off from the Inner Harbor here. Heading out that way. You can actually see the Black Ball ferry that goes to Port Angeles. It's just about to take off.